Hello, everybody, and welcome to the weekly Oracle Wisdom. For those that don't know me, my name is Natalie Sadie. And once again, we are live on YouTube with the live stream being posted to the High Vibe community in the next couple of hours. Anne is still out of town, and so we are sort of doing the best we can, or rather, I am doing the best that I can to sort of make this happen. I'm just jumping into the chat. Let me just make sure this is quiet. Okay, so let's get this going. We should be back to our regular scheduled programming from next week once Anne is back from her trip. So I hope you all had an amazing weekend. I hope some of you got to get out and see the Perseids meteor shower. I got out the day before the peak, and it was pretty special. We saw some incredible shooting stars, some of them with massive tails, others with sort of not much there, but it was still pretty amazing. Okay, we are just going to dive right in here. So the first card coming out is fluidity, staying flexible and adaptable, keeping an open mind, going with the flow, being teachable. Being flexible, I think, is one of the greatest things that you can do in this life. We have to have boundaries. We have to keep those boundaries in place when there are things that make us uncomfortable, when there are people that are trying to essentially do the wrong thing. However, in life, we have visions, we have goals, we've got our dream boards, all of that happening. And we always have a very fixed idea of how we think we should get to the place, like the ultimate end game. And things don't always work that way. You have to be flexible, because when you are and things don't always show up the way that you want them to, often there's another way that you can get there. And sometimes that way makes things so much better and the outcome so much better than you ever could have imagined. But you have to be open to being flexible in how you get there. If you sit there and say, I am getting to this place and this is how it's going to look, and you have zero flexibility, that is going to be a problem for you, because you may miss the most incredible opportunity that is being presented to you because you are not willing to let this thing happen or unfold in a way that challenges the vision in your mind. And the reality is sometimes we take things at face value, or we hear information and we take it one way, when in reality, the information we're getting is correct, but it presents differently. So I hope that makes sense to you. Let's see if we get clarification as to exactly what this is referring to. Online, being active on social media, strong social media presence, influencer, emails, online dating, online business. So I feel like there's going to be a lot coming through with all of this. The other thing that I get as soon as I pulled this card is, are you spending too much time online? That's the other thing. So I feel like this could go one of two ways. You either need to be more active online and use it as a tool for whatever it is you're building. At the same time, don't get lost. Doom scrolling has become a term that people use very frequently now. Don't get stuck in that world. That can be it can be destructive if you're letting other people's achievements and other people's perceived life get in your head. And it can also just be a time waster. Do you know what I mean? You get lost in TikTok and all of a sudden hours has gone and you haven't, hours have gone by and you haven't achieved anything. or any of the things that you had planned to get done that day, that evening, whatever it may be. So make sure there is a balance with all of this. I just I feel I feel that online things and all these new forums are incredible tools when used correctly, and they can be incredibly destructive if they are used incorrectly. So just keep your mind open to what's going on with all of that. There we go. I feel like this is confirmation. Toxicity, toxic situation or people, it's time to purge having a toxic mindset, dead end relationship. So the fact that I pulled toxic straight after I was talking about getting lost in this online world, pay attention to that. The other thing is, was it last week or the week before this card came out? So my question would still be, are you the one being toxic in these relationships? Because if you are, it's time to modify that behavior. And if you have toxic people around you, pay attention. And this is where you have to draw boundaries. Draw boundaries. It's always good to get rid of toxic people and toxic situations from our lives. However, saying that and making it a reality isn't always that easy, depending on who these people are and the part that they're playing in our lives. So this is where, if they're not somebody you can kind of walk away from, you have to draw those boundaries. And often the toxicity can come from what's being posted online, whether it be people obsessively watching what it is you're posting and spinning things in one direction or another. Or again, you being toxic, the people that post cryptic posts about feelings or situations and toxicity and all of this, and it's aimed at somebody, but they're not saying it, they're not calling it out, they won't have the conversation with people. All of that is toxic behavior. If you've got something to say, have the conversation with somebody and just get it out there. If you don't want to say it to them, that's totally fine, but just watch all of that behavior, because it absolutely colors your life. And people seem to think that if you're operating from behind a keyboard or behind your phone, it gives you a pass to say things or behave in a certain way that you wouldn't necessarily to somebody's face. So whether that's you or somebody else, we're getting so many of these cards. And I said this last time, there are 100 cards in this deck. Renewal. Powerful inner transformation, leave old flames, embrace the new. Okay, I'm kind of reading back to front today. Release of energy and emotions, playing with fire. I talked last week about how incredible fire is at renewal. When a bushfire or a scrub fire goes through an area and everything looks to be destroyed, as soon as the rain comes, new sprouts appear and forests regenerate, and it's just absolutely incredible. So we're obviously still in this journey of renewal. When I do these weekly readings, your whole life isn't going to transform in a week if there are these major transformational moments that you're going through. So you have to remember that. Renewal, it's an ongoing process. When the fire comes through and destroys everything, the new sprouts and seedlings don't appear overnight. They will after the rains come, but that takes time. So just know that if this is the process you're going through, don't be getting frustrated with where things are at, how long things are taking, because it does take time. It is a journey. So be kind to yourself. As the astrology becomes more and more intense, make sure that you're giving yourself a break, as well as the people around you. We're all on a journey, and maybe people aren't coming forward in the way that you desperately want them to. But please remember that they're on their own journey and they're figuring stuff out just like you are. So they may not be perfect in the way that you want them to be, but they're doing the best that they can. Happiness, feeling happy with your life, an incident that made you happy, a smoother ride through life, feeling on top of the world. Happiness is a choice. You choose how you get to go through all of this. I feel like when we shed toxicity and we're in a phase of renewal, it leads to happiness. But at the same time, there can be people that get caught in the negative emotions of all of this because it is overwhelming. It is really difficult to work through. So you get to choose. Do you want to be happy? And if you do want to be happy, it is a choice. And it's finding the beauty in the renewal. You know, there is, to get to that point, to go through the fire. It's tough. It's tough going, and it's fine to feel all of the emotions that come with it. The feelings of loss, of letting go and destruction, I guess. But the feeling of being free, free of the dead weight, free of the things that don't serve you, that all leads to happiness. Okay. I was going to pull one more card, but 3 just jumped out. So we're going with that before we move on. Okay. So love, romantic feelings, mutual attraction, somebody has feelings for you, and focusing on love. So is this the week where you're thinking about all of this? And I mean, this comes back to the online. I mean, one of the lines on this card is online dating. So maybe this is a week where you're putting yourself back out there. You're feeling like the renewal and everything like that is sort of in full swing, which would be an amazing thing. And you're kind of ready. So be open to all of that. And maybe somebody's just going to come out of the woodwork. It may not even be attached to anything online. Just be open to all of that. And maybe it's just opening your heart. I laughed when these cards jumped out because another one from last week, hot mess, disorderly habits, untidy mind, chaotic, messy situation, feeling miserable and unhappy and being irresponsible. Are you stuck in this frame of mind? Because again, the fact that these cards are coming up, I was shuffling them before I even was live while I was setting everything up and waiting for everything to load appropriately. So, and I've used these cards throughout the week. There is no reason that this card came up again. So, again, I feel like we kind of have this hangover from the reading that we had last week. So, I'll ask again, like I did with the toxicity card. Are you stuck in this place where you're feeling like a hot mess, or where you maybe haven't dealt with the chaotic energies that are in your life? So keep dealing with that. And then the final one, which goes with the previous card, we've got dating, being open to love, seeing somebody specific, going on more dates, feeling good and flirty. And if you're not ready for love yet, dating's a great way to just put it out into the ethers and sort of say, hey, I'm ready for this. Come on, universe, let's bring it on. There was a moment in my life where somebody kept saying to me, you know, you must be dating all the time. And I laughed. I said, I haven't been on a date in so long. And this was such a long time ago. And they said, no, I don't believe it. And I sat down and I reflected for a while. And I went, no, I truly, truly don't go on any dates. I actually don't get asked on any. So I thought about it and I realized that every date that I was asked on, I said no to. And the reason for that was because I knew there wasn't a romantic sort of connection with any of these people that had asked. But I also realized that the universe was giving me or presenting me with opportunities and I kept saying no. So the universe went, Okay, you don't want what I'm offering. I'm just not going to offer. So I made a deal with myself and the universe. And I said, the next person you send me to ask me out on a date, I'm going to say yes, regardless of what my initial thought is, all of that. Obviously, they couldn't be a creep. Anyway, day comes a few weeks after I've had this conversation with the universe and this moment of introspection. And this really lovely man asked me out on a date, and I said yes without hesitation. I didn't think it was romantic connection, and I was right. It wasn't. But do you know what that did? It completely shifted the energy. The universe went, okay, she's ready. She's going to start saying yes. And so then it sent me on a series of dates over the sort of next few months. And then somebody really special came into my life. He wasn't my forever person, but he's someone that absolutely influenced me and my life. So point of that is be open to what the universe is giving you. And even if you're not ready for the forever love, but you're ready to kind of start opening yourself up, you have to say yes. So you have to find a way of putting yourself out there. Okay, in the spirit of the thumbnail, I have Colette Baron-Reid's The Spirit Animal Oracle. Next, so let's see what we've got. Okay, so something similar came up, I think in the last week again. Peacock Spirit, let it shine. As I told you all, I love me a good peacock that has his tail out and he's shimmying away, and that's amazing. So it is time to come out and be the most fabulous version of you that exists, that we know exists. So it's time to put it out there and let the world see. We are still in Leo season, so it's very easy to get very comfortable in our little cocoons, but there are times where you have to, that's right, Iggy, get the whole shimmy going on. Seriously, I love it. I have videos of me in Kuala Lumpur and there's a peacock. And I remember watching the video back and the peacock starts shimmying. And then from behind the camera, you hear me say, oh, it's so hot. I tell you, I'm not joking when I say I love a peacock shimmy. Okay, so antelope spirit, life is speeding up. Things are on the move, things are moving along, which for me as an Aries, I think is amazing. I love when things are moving. So get on board, get yourself ready, get yourself positioned to go along for the ride. You don't want to be there scrambling. And part of that is, if you are feeling like a hot mess in life and things aren't orderly for you, clean that shit up. Get it cleaned up and ready so that when the ride really starts getting faster, you're good to go. Because if you've got this whole mess that's going on, it's not going to work. Okay. So then we get turtle spirit. Slow and steady wins the race. So life is speeding up. You need to be ready to go. But it's also one of those things, the law of opposites. You have to be ready to go, but at the same time, you have to keep plodding along. So if there are lulls in that race, don't worry about it. Just one foot in front of the other. I'm going to pull one more card and see if we have any sort of major clarity. Okay. This makes me laugh because of the last deck that I'm going to use. Snake Spirit, Time to Heal. The last set of cards that I'm pulling from today is Self-Care Wisdom cards by Cheryl Richardson. And I just felt that as the energies are starting to get crazier and more intense, and we know that for the rest of the year, it's going to keep building, we need to make sure that we're taking time for ourselves. And the fact that these two cards are coming out at the same time speaks to the craziness of all the energies that are going on. So in this, make sure you are taking time to look after yourself so that you're ready for the journey and everything that is coming your way. The other thing that I see with the snake spirit, snakes shed their skin, right? And it's how they continue to grow and keep getting bigger and move up in this world. It's tied into this renewal card. So it's all good things, but it's a time I think of massive change and massive upheaval. And so it's time to get everything in order for you so that you're ready for the ride. And again, some people may get lost in all of this energy and, you know, poor me, everything's falling apart and life is so hard and it's moving so quickly and it's moving too slowly and it's all these things, and they go into victim mode. You get to choose happiness. And you know what? If you embrace the journey and the chaos and the craziness, you're going to have a great time. And yeah, there's always hard moments for all of us along the way. But when you choose how you react to all of these things, there is such incredible power in all of that. So don't give your power away. I hate roller coasters, but it's essentially like getting on the roller coaster. You can either hate it or you can just enjoy the ride and go, right, this is going to be super exciting. Okay, so with the self-care, surprise, release your expectations and be open to surprise. This comes back to the fluidity card at the very beginning. You have to embrace what's coming. You have to accept how things are coming at you, and don't get stuck in the expectation of what it is exactly that you want. Just go with it, ride the wave. So yes, Iggy, you're in there saying just go fast and slow. Do you know what? I keep getting the vision of surfing. You paddle out there and it's a little bit slow. Then when the wave's coming, it gets super fast and you've got to ride that wave. And then when the wave finishes, everything slows down again. I feel like that's sort of the momentum that we're coming into. So you get these moments where it's a complete rush and then it slows down. And I feel like that can be really discombobulating and really frustrating at times, especially if you're someone who loves it going super fast or if you're someone who loves it going slow. And those moments where the big wave comes and that you get that rush, it's a lot for people. Focus. If you focus on what you don't want, there's a good chance you might get it. Focus on what you do want instead. So this is all about manifestation. If you're stuck in the negative, that is what you're going to create for yourself. If you're stuck in the positive and all the things that you're building for yourself, and choose happiness over the negativity, choose happiness over being scared and the fear that comes with everything shifting and changing around you, that determines the outcome. Okay, we've got one. And action. Baby steps are still steps. They're better than standing still. So in those moments where it becomes the turtle spirit and it's not moving as quickly, and if you're like me and you like when things are moving along quickly, just remember that you keep taking those little steps, you're still moving forward. When you look back, even in those moments of taking those tiny little steps, you're going to see how far you've come. I think we might pull one more. Okay. And we've got abundance. Being a thoughtful steward for the money you already have is the secret to creating more abundance. When you trust yourself to handle more, that's when more shows up. So if you are stuck in a place of lack, I don't have enough, I don't have, you're not going to have enough. So again, this goes back to the focus card about manifestation. create what it is you want. If you have an abundant mindset, you are going to create abundance. So don't be reckless with your money. Be smart in how you're spending it, but at the same time, don't be scared to pay things down and pay for certain things because you don't have enough. Trust that the universe will provide more, and it always will. The universe absolutely has your back. The thing here is how you navigate all of this and the reality that you create for yourself. So for those of you that haven't watched my August forecast yet, that is on the main page of Weekly Oracle Wisdom YouTube channel. So go and check that out. We're halfway through the month or almost halfway through the month. So it's a good time to check in and see if any of that resonates with you. I think David and I will be doing our last full disclosure in the studio this week because the sets obviously have to be taken down. So we're doing one of our earlier shows on Friday so that he can go and celebrate Aurora's first birthday, if you can believe she's already a year old. So make sure you're on High Vibe to check that out. Anne and I will announce when our next episode of Gemini Rising is once she's back in California and we can figure out dates. So there's so much exciting stuff coming up with this reading. I hope it resonated with some of you or all of you. As I always say, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. I hope you all have an amazing week. I will see you Friday for full disclosure, and I will see you again next Monday for the weekly Oracle Wisdom. Thank you, everyone, and thank you for everyone that